Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Amitanshu here. Today we'll learn a few basic Linux commands. We'll talk about vim and dotfiles. We'll configure a tiling window manager and install a IDE to complete our development setup. So let's start with few basic file management commands for manipulating and navigating the file system. Open your terminal in the first workspace, and in the second workspace, open your file manager to visualize the commands. Okay. The first thing you see when you open your file manager is a list of folders. The command ls does the same thing for you. It lists out all the content in a directory or folder. Now we'll go back to the second workspace. We'll go to the desktop. Then we'll create a new folder called new. And then we'll just delete this. We did a few tasks in the file manager. Now let's see how we can achieve this in the CLI. To change the directory, we have a command called cd followed by the path to the directory. Now I'll make a new directory using the command mkdir followed by the name of the directory, which is new in our case. The command rm removes the file by default, but as this is a directory, we have to add an option -rf which specifies that this is a folder followed by the path to the directory. That's it. All tasks completed. Now let's do a few more tasks and try to achieve it with a command line. So we'll go back to the second workspace. We'll create a text file called file.txt. Then we'll edit the file with a text editor and add some content to the file. Now let's see how we can achieve this via the command line. We'll create a new file using the command touch followed by the name of the file. Then we'll use a powerful command line text editor called vim or vi. When you open vim, it is in the normal mode by default. In order to insert text, we need to enter into the insert mode by pressing I. Now we can insert text like any other text editor. Now we press colon to use commands. W will write the changes and Q will quit. Now to verify the changes, we can use a command cat, which is used to read the contents of a file. That's it. All tasks completed. Now let's go to the second workspace. We'll create two new folders, new one and new two. We'll move the file.txt to new one and copy the file.txt to new 2. Let's see how we can achieve this in the command line. Let's just delete everything we did in the file manager so that we can do it here. This asterisk selects everything in the directory. Now we have recreated the scenario. We'll create two new directories, new 1 and new 2. To move the file.txt to new one, we'll use the command mv followed by the path of the source followed by the path of the destination. Now we'll copy the file.txt from new one to new 2 using the command cp followed by the path of the source followed by the path of the destination. That's it. We are all set. There are a lot more commands we may not be able to cover in this video. Let's save that for future videos. Maybe I should create a dedicated playlist for Linux and Linux specific stuffs like vim, bash scripting, rising and all that. Let me know about this in the comments below. However, there are a few commands that are worth mentioning. pwt. It gives you your current working directory. Find, used to find something. There is top to monitor your system. There's also sensor to check the temperature and all that. As you can see here, it gives the temperature of a particular instance. But if you want to see it in real time, I have to run the command again and again. Or I can use the watch command to iteratively run the command after a specific interval of time. You can know all the details of any command right in your terminal using the command man followed by the command you are interested to know about. Let's use ls for this instance. As you can see all this, the manual page of ls, the name, the description, all the options available. There is something interesting here. The option -a, it will give you a list of all the files in a directory. But isn't that something the ls command does? Well, actually no. The ls command by default only shows the file and folder which are not hidden. But with the option -a, it will give you a list of all the files and folder, including the hidden ones. We can check that in the file manager as well. Just press Ctrl-H. You should be able to see hidden files. They start with a dot, so they are also called dot files. They are mostly used for configurations. If you have completed the challenge one, you might already know about this. Now let's move ahead and install a tiling window manager to take our productivity to the next level. Open your terminal and type sudo apt install i3-wm. Now what have we done here? We are using the apt package manager to install i3wm, but what exactly is a package manager? It is one of the superpowers of Linux. Think of it as a Play Store or an App Store for packages through which we can install packages just by typing the command sudo apt install whatever. Now go ahead and press enter. It may ask you for your password. That's it, installed. There are a few things we need to do before we start the i3wm. Open your Whiskers menu and search for keyboard. Go to the application shortcut. Press Ctrl+A to select everything. Now click remove. We are doing this to avoid conflicts with the i3wm key bindings. Now we'll also remove the window shortcuts. Search for window manager and repeat the process. Now search for startup and sessions. Go to the current sessions. You will see lxappearance, which is the default window manager for xfce. We don't need that as we'll be using i3wm as our window manager. So we'll set the restart style to never. We'll also do the same for xfce panel and xf desktop as we don't need them either. Now we'll go to the applications and auto start and we'll add i3wm to it. Click add, give it a name, give it a description, and then the command is i3. That's it. Make sure you save this session. Now log out of this session. Then we'll change the session from default to i3wm and then we'll log back in. When you log back into your i3 for the first time, a pop-up will appear asking you to generate a config file. Just press enter and then it will ask which key you want to use as mod key. Go for the super key, also called as the Windows key, and hit enter. Then you'll see something like this. We have successfully installed our tiling window manager. Let me give you a quick tour. I'm screencasting my keys just so you can see what keys I'm using. Okay, mod plus enter will open a terminal. Now if you open another instance of the terminal by using mod plus enter, you will see it tiles up beside it. By default, it does horizontal tiling, but you can also perform vertical tiling and switch between them with mod H and mod V. You can switch between different windows using mod plus arrows or the classic vim like HJKL. Either of them works. Now mod plus shift plus Q is to quit. You can change the position of your window using mod plus shift plus arrows. You can switch workspace with mod plus the workspace number. Like if I want to go to the second workspace, mod plus 2, similarly third, fourth, and so on. You can always refer to the i3wm docs. Okay, I just noticed we don't have dmenu installed. It's like an application launcher, but anyways, we'll use rofi instead of it. We'll configure that later, but for now, let's launch Firefox from the terminal. Just search for i3wm guide. Here are all the key bindings. We have used most of them. There are a few more. Mod plus S is for stacked layout. Mod plus D for D menu. We don't have that installed right now. So let's just quickly install D menus just to show you. It's installed. Now mod plus D. This thing here is the D menu. You can use that to launch your applications. And mod plus F is for full screen. Just go through all of them. Okay, let's jump right into the configuration part. This is the path of the config file. Open your terminal, cd.config/i3. Here's the config file. You can use mousepad to edit this, but we'll be using Vim. You may not be comfortable with Vim if you are a beginner, but I'm still gonna use it. Take this positively, that's how you learn, right? Just look at the keys and what I am doing and figure it out by yourself, or refer the internet, just search for Vim Beginner's Guide. But again, you can use the mousepad to edit this. Okay, this is the config file that was auto-generated. You can see all the key bindings and stuff written in here. You can add your own key bindings. The first thing I like to do is changing this mod plus shift plus Q to mod plus Q. Now mod plus Q should quit the window rather than mod plus shift plus Q. That's just my personal preference. Okay, we won't make a lot of changes. You can refer to the docs for any specific change you want to make. I just wanted to show you how it's done. Now let's save this and restart the i3wm for changes to take place by pressing mod plus shift plus R. Okay, let's install rofi to replace D menu, and we'll also install lxappearance. As you might have noticed, all my theming is gone. lxappearance will help us with that. Once they are installed, open the config file. Let me search for D menu. We'll just comment this because we'll be using rofi instead of this. This is the command to run rofi, rofi-show, and then the mode we want to use. Rofi has different modes, but the one we are interested in is drun. Now we'll add -show -icons so that it will show up all the app icons. That's it. Write the changes and restart i3wm. Now mod plus D will show rofi. I'll change the appearance as it was before. Remember installing lxappearance. Now open it. We'll select Dracula, my favorite theme. We are all set. Now let's install an IDE. But what exactly is an IDE? It stands for Integrated Development Environment. It is a software application that brings together all the tools that you need while writing, testing, and debugging your code. It includes features like syntax highlighting, code intelligence, auto-completion, debugging, extensions, and lot more. VS Code is not in apt, but we can install it from snap. Just snap install code. But I'm not a big fan of snap, so we'll install a Debian package instead. Open your Firefox and search for VS Code. Open the link. Okay, we'll download this .dev file. Okay, once it's downloaded, we'll open our terminal. What I like to do is create an application folder in my home directory. I keep all my app images, Debian files, and application launch file there. I already have created one. Now in your terminal, cd download and move the code to /applications. And then we'll cd /application and then install the dev file using apt. Sudo apt install /code and then press tab to autocomplete. We are all done. You can find it in rofi mod plus d. Here you go, VS Code. We did a bunch of stuff till now. We install Linux, install a tiling window manager. We talked about Ds, distros, dotfiles, vims, and all that. If you are a beginner, you might feel a little overwhelmed with all this, but you have to push past your limits to follow along. There is a lot of reason why people use Linux in general, but one of the reasons why people use tiling window manager is because it's keyboard centric. Developers are lazy animals. They like to keep their hands on the keyboard and type. Stretching their hands for the mouse just breaks the workflow. Once you get comfortable with this and everything is in your muscle memory, you'll achieve an insane speed in your workflow. That's the same reason why people use Vim. Anyways, in the next video, we'll learn about Git and GitHub, and things might feel a little easier after we start front end. Make sure you subscribe the channel, share your thoughts in the comments below, give this video a thumbs up, and that's it until next time.